Hello and welcome to week number 11, Traditional Sampler Weekly Block Adventure. We are almost done. I hope everyone has had a fun time with these blocks. I have had so much response from all of you. I appreciate all of that. This time though, let me just say, the block that was planned for today, I worked and I worked and I worked with it. The measurements that I was given from the directions didn't work. I kept trying to revise and revise, and I finally just gave up for right now because I was trying to hurry and get everything ready for today. So we are jumping over and we're doing what would actually be next week's block. And next week's block is going to be a surprise. Like, I don't even know what it is yet. So if I can get the other to work out, that will be what we do. If I can't, we'll go into something else. But the block that we have today is the Sparkling Star. And let me just say, wow, this is challenging. And this was supposed to be the last block, which we're not making it the last block. It's the next to the last block. And if you look over here, this is the one that I have finished. Not happy with it. I don't like the yellow. And I know it's supposed to be, the sparkling star, and, stars are yellow and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, it's not jiving with me. So if you happen to look at what I have on display here, I have gone back to my white pieces so that my pieces will stand out better. Like I said in a couple of videos ago, sometimes you're gonna do those pieces, and I know several of you have already done this, where you've gone in, you've tried a block, got it all put together, you stand back, look at it, and you're like, nah, don't think so, and have to redo it. So that's kind of where I'm at with this. And I wanted to even kind of change it up a little bit, but I said, no, I'm going to try to keep on, the way that it says to do it. I'm going to just do that. I don't want to confuse anybody more than I already probably do confuse you. So let's go ahead and get started because we have a lot. If you've already cut, you had a lot of cutting. If you already have like all of your pieces hopefully laid out. Like I said, it is a puzzle, and this is like the puzzle of puzzles here. And it is going to be crucial, like very, very, very important that you keep your form with this piece and bring it over, lay it back down to be able to see what goes on top, because this block is so easy to get turned around. So you want to really be cautious with that, really pay attention to what you're doing, and make sure that you lay it out before you stack it back on top to do your stitch, okay? So let's get started with what we're going to need. If you have not already cut the pieces that you're going to need for this, we're calling this piece A, and this is, you need to cut 2 of 3 7/8 inch, and this is one color. This you're going to just cut diagonally in half, okay, to get your triangle. This piece here is our piece B. You're going to cut 6 of these at 2 3/8 inch. This needs to be the same color as block A, or I should say piece A. And then this also is going to get cut diagonally in half. We come over to piece C, which is going to be the outer parts here of your star. It's going to make all of this outer part here where I have my floral pieces. And this is piece C. You need to cut 12 of these at 2 3/8 inch. And this is all one color. So whatever you're going to have is going to be in each one of those surrounding, making that surrounding star. And you're going to cut those diagonally in half. And then we move over to piece D. You're going to want to cut 6 at 2 3/8 inch. That's all one color. And that's also going to get cut in half diagonally. Those are going to be the ones that you see here in the center, and that's what I made with my red, okay? And then piece E, you need 4, and that's 3.5 inch, and that needs to be the same color as your A and your B. So these are actually going to be these corner blocks here. And then our piece F, our last piece, you're going to cut 1, and it's going to be 7.25 inch, and that needs to be the same color as the A, the B, and the E, and that needs to be cut 4s. So that needs to be cut in half diagonally, and then cut the other part diagonally to make 4 pieces. That's going to be our center pieces, where I have the yellows right here, 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 and down here. Okay, so that's going to give you those 4 pieces. And then when we come over here and we have everything lined up, I went ahead and tried to go ahead and do some stitching together, because this is going to take a little bit longer than the others have. Piecing together all those small pieces, it does take quite a bit of time. So I wanted to go ahead and just show you, and I've kind of got this in parts as to what it looks like when you sew the 1, and then you have 2, and then you have 3, it's all together. So we're going to start with this one here. And if you notice, the easiest thing that I can tell you to make sure to watch is when you have your triangle, this is actually backward, your triangle piece needs to be pointing to the center, okay? So this triangle, the point is coming in, which means that you've got a short, like your short side to the right and a short side to the left if you were standing over this triangle here. So you have one of the pieces, like when they are finished, they're going to line up right on top, just like this, okay? So you're going to have those going together. Now, when you lay these in to make this triangle, you want the long side of the smaller pieces to be lying right up next to that short side of that triangle. And I hope I'm making sense here, because when you look at a triangle, see, you've got your 2 shorter sides here, and then you've got 1 long side, okay? And so you want these to be laying on those shorter sides. There's nothing on the long side. The long sides are going to make the outer part of your block. So we have the shorter side that we are trying to match these up against, but we are using the long side of the smaller pieces to line there. And then we have the one part, because if you look, are you able to see that really well? Okay, so when you look, now you see that it makes that triangle area. So that fits right inside there, just like that. And then you've got this other triangle piece that's going to long side to long side, which would make the 2 half triangles would make a square that would end up right there. So when you're looking at it, that will form and make a completed triangle. Okay, so you're going to put those in each one of these areas here, all the way around, okay? And when you get ready to stitch those, you have your piece in the center, and you want to take the I'm trying to figure out the best way to explain this. Take the one that's closest to your right hand. It's already laid out for you here. And you're going to take and you're going to flip this right on top. Now, it is important that you have your edge to edge, okay? So we've got edge to edge and we've got corner to corner. Can you see that? You see that all right? Okay. And then we're going to take and we're going to stitch right along that part there, okay? So remember what I said last week? We want to make sure when you pick that up and you go over to your machine and you're going to look at this and you're going to say, oh shoot, where was I supposed to stitch? And don't take a guess, because if you guess wrong, you're going to be ripping it out. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to take a stitch right here, okay? Then when we come back, we want to make sure that we press that. And like I said, I always press my seams open. So this is what it will look like after you have pressed one open. And you bring this back over and you lay this back down to your puzzle piece. All right? Because when you get ready to flip the next one, you want to make sure that you're flipping it on there the proper way. So the next thing we're going to do is, let me move this one. Let's swap this here. Let's move this one over to this side. Yeah, no, let's not, because I already told you to flip. That's going to just confuse you. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're going to do the flip the next piece onto the shorter side of the triangle, and we're going to flip it right on top of there. And again, we're going to make sure that our points, and this is after, remember, you've got to press these. As soon as you do the stitch, you need to press that open, because when you press that open, then it needs to flow across that stitched area. So here, I've got these matched up, and if you look at the back, and you see there's like some little pieces sticking out, do not cut anything yet. You will learn the hard way if you do. If you go ahead and cut these and then see that it's not right, and you go back to take that out, it is not going to go back together the right way. So make sure not to cut or trim anything yet. And then you're going to go ahead and you're going to stitch that piece right there along where I have my pen, okay? We're going to stitch that. And then when we come back, our piece is going to look like this, okay? So if you look at it, we've got the three triangles here, and they are the bottom of it. There's a whole line right there, and this is going to go right up against the short side of my triangle. Okay, that's going to fit right up against side there. And then we've got the part that we need to top off this triangle. So we just take and we flip this right on top, just like that. And now there's kind of a little cheat method, because if you look at this, and this is on top of that, you see how the bottom, it comes across the bottom, but at the top also, see how there's a point? You line those up and you know that that is in there properly. Go ahead and pin, because we are going to stitch the long side of that. Okay, so it's going to go this way here, and then when we get that finished, it will look like this. Okay, and do not forget, after you stitch, you always press. So this is the back of what this little piece looks like. Okay, and then we are going to move into our center piece, I went ahead and stitched all of these 4 pieces together. So just because it does take so long, and when we do these videos, it's usually a couple hours. So we want to go home tonight, you know? So you do the exact same thing with these, with what I have, my red and my white here. You're doing the exact same method as you did with all of these. It's just that there's a whole lot of them, okay? And so once you get those together, and then you have those half triangles lined up next to it, you're going to take and you're going to lay that white, mine's a white piece, but you're going to lay your fabric right on top of that and do your stitch. And these turn out to be pretty wonky. If you look, see there, what's that? You know, like, look at all this. Look at all that rubbish. What is that? I will square these up, but not yet, because we want to make sure that everything is measuring out properly before we try to make anything squared up, okay? And then when you go finish all of those, we're going to lay them back out. Make sure that you are laying them right where you got them from, okay? And I am going to give you all a second to get these pieces all put together, I guess I should say. So all of these, all of your little triangle pieces, let's go ahead, get all of those done. Make sure that they are all stitched together and just get them all laid out, okay? If you would like and you're comfortable doing it, you can go ahead and attach them to your big triangle piece, and then just lay that down. So make sure that your piece is laying on the short side of the triangle, that they are laying right up against that, and then you're going to take and you're just going to flip that over. And I will tell you, I kind of had to do a little maneuvering, because if you go, if I show you, this point here is, it's laying down here close to the edge, and this is less than a 1/4 inch. So I had to kind of move my piece just a little bit, so that when I do go to stitch this down, that this will try to get close to the point, okay? And I will say it really didn't work very well, because if you look at this piece, and it's kind of hard to not be able to stitch and that be the 1/4 inch. So don't worry. So far, I mean, everything, even in my piece over here, you see, like, I tried to get my 1/4 pieces to be able to stitch out where you have the point, but then my block seemed to kind of grow. So just try to do the best you can with it and see what happens. For some reason, I don't know, the way that this block, the measurements and everything, I did get this out of a different, you know how, like, in the blocks there are 3 that we are not doing, and I took those away so that I could put 3 different ones in with different techniques, so that we could go right into sampler 2, because there's going to be a lot of, like, these little triangles going together. So I tried to find things that would help you learn these different techniques. And so I got the instructions off of these out of a different area, and I don't know, let me just say that I sure like the others that we've been working with. But let's go ahead, and I'm going to let you get caught up in getting all of your little triangle pieces together, and we will come back and start putting everything together. If you go ahead and do the center, and if you look at this, you see that like that is not even, like there's a piece that's sticking out there. There's a piece that's sticking out up here, okay? See down here? See how that? So what I'm doing, I am not going to trim that off yet, but what I am going to do is, let me see, I moved those, so let me make sure I'm getting that back correctly. That one goes, no, is that right? There we go. Okay, just take, and you're going to flip this on top of the other one, and you need to come down here to be able to find the center of the two that meet, where you have, like here I have my red and my white, and you want to make sure that you are, okay, can you see that? See how these, my points from the triangles, can you see that? Okay, so you want to make sure that those are what you are matching up, so that you can get your center, get that pinpoint in the center, okay? So you're going to want to just concentrate, don't worry about all this other stuff. That is what you need to worry about, is making sure that those, I'm trying to get it to where you can see, that those match up and you pin that, okay? So let's go ahead and get those all together, and we'll come back to be able to put the rest of it all together. Okay, now at this time we should have all of our little tiny triangles made into one big triangle connected to the other big triangles. It's kind of like the, what is it, the foot bone's connected to the leg bone, and the leg bone's connected to the knee bone, and I gotta think of my anatomy here. But anyway, so now I went ahead and I put together my top or my bottom, whichever way you're looking at it. And so I put my two cornerstones onto my middle triangle pieces. And I only did one. I put my triangles together that were in the center. And then see what I was talking about? See the pinpoint right here, okay? And I got that from matching up, going on the inside, finding where it met at the point, and put both of these pieces together, okay? And then on the outside piece here, I went in and found the corner, not the corner, the point, which is like this piece here, okay? See the point on the triangle? So I put that point and lined it up with the center line here, and I put my pin in, and when I went to stitch, again, these points are right at the edge. So I had to kind of back it up a little bit, if you see this, to be able to, when I do this, I go over to my machine and I put my piece right up underneath my 1/4 inch bar and my needle, and try to line that up the best that I can by moving this piece over a little bit to be able to give access of making sure that I can get those pieces together, but not losing a lot of my point. Does that make sense? I hope. So what I was wanting to show you, and this is what I'm talking about, like I didn't go through and all of my little dog ears, I did not trim any of that stuff off, because I am backing all of my blocks with the woven fusible, which we'll discuss here in just a little bit. So I'm not worried about all those pieces sticking up or anything like that. Before my block looked like, before it looked like this, it was like this, okay? So you see how there's this uneven, how can I make this so that they can see that better? You see that this is uneven here, and this point is what you're wanting to be able to match up between my red and my white here. You're wanting to put this point to match up with this line. And in order to be able to get your 1/4 inch stitch, you have to be able to kind of trim some of this away to be able to do that. Let me grab this so that I can show. Let me just kind of scoot some of this stuff over. And another little tip, I've had a couple of people that have asked about that they swear up and down they had their measurement correct, and I want to just make sure that everyone knows when you are cutting with your rotary cutter and you are going up against your ruler here, you want to make sure that you're not going to the side, that you're not laying it like this and trying to cut. You want to make sure that you are straight up and down on top of this, because if you do lay down like this, you're digging into your fabric and you are making it smaller than what you are thinking that you're making it, okay? So make sure that when you are using your rotary cutter that you are straight up and down and not at a curve, or like an angle. That's my word I'm thinking of, not curve. So here, I'm going to show you. Are you able to zoom in on this? Okay. Because I don't want to take a whole lot off. I'm not really sure how much of this is going to be taken. So I look, and it is not even. This is a little shorter than this side over here. Okay, and so I'm going to just try to go in between, still leaving, are you able to see that very well? Like I'm not lined up right on top of this shorter part. I'm kind of over it and just kind of holding down here to trim this part off. And this has like a bunch of sticky on it. Not the best mat in the world. This was my shop owning supplies here that I brought in on this. Okay, and then as you see here, see how that is not, this is shorter than this side over here, and this is shorter than this side over here. So I'm going to make sure, because that's going to definitely make that a little bit smaller, but I'm going to just trim a little bit of this part, just a little bit of it off. And it's still, I'm not making it even, not yet. I just want to get rid of a little bit of this so that it's more manageable. And then we're going to take, and that point that I was talking about there, we're going to take that point and we're going to line it up right on top of this line here and be able to put our pin right on top of that. So that when we do go to do our 1/4 inch stitch, I'm going to move it just a little bit, make sure that's still lined up, just like that. And go ahead and make sure that you do the sides over here. They're going to be a little smaller, so I just kind of try to straighten it out a little bit. And I don't know if it's because the triangles, they just don't want to line up right or what, but it did it on the last couple that I made, so I think it's just the way the triangle is. And then I will go over here and stitch this up real quick. Let me just do that while y'all are watching, and you can kind of see here. And I will put that piece. Let's see what it did here. Fingers crossed. Aha. And so here, see our center piece, and see my 2 corners that, am I holding that okay? My 2 corners, what do I want to say, not corners, points. My 2 points are right in line with my center mark here of my center block, okay? I need to press this down, but I'll do that in just a moment. And I wanted to show you, so I showed you that I did the top one here, and then on this bottom one, I wanted to just turn this over and show you that, see how when I did the stitching on that, I put it on the side where I could see this piece here. And then I'll go over and I'll trim this part off. Like I said, I don't like to trim these off until I'm completely finished. Otherwise, there's times that I have trimmed, and then by the time I'm all finished, or I think I'm finished, and then my block is too short, or there's something going on with it, and I have to take it apart. And when I do that, that usually means, I'm too short and I have to totally redo the block. So that's just kind of a little piece of advice. I know it's a pain in the booty to try to sew with those, and it makes things a little thicker or whatever. If you can tolerate it just a little bit, it's kind of like with the dog ears. If you can tolerate it just a little bit and then trim, you will be happier in the long run. And I wanted to just show you, when you line up your cornerstones here, make sure, line it, what I did, I lined it up because this is really my true edge, is the bottom. Let me open that up. The bottom of my triangle, I know that that is a true edge. So I lined my cornerstone up with that, as well as where this is supposed to exist at the side here. Eliminating this part here, just kind of, you know, like try to line it up between here, and then go ahead and stitch up your cornerstone, okay? And so now that I have that, I'm going to go ahead and trim the excess off on this part. And if you see, I am using my rotary cutter with my ruler, and I'm straight up and down. I'm not trying to go like this, okay? I am straight up and down with it to trim it off. Okay? And then I can go ahead, I'm going to take this little bit off that's right here on the top part also, so that when we get ready to flip this, this piece will be able to give us a better 1/4 inch. And so the same thing, we're going to find our point, and we're going to flip this right on top. And the same thing here, we're going to find our point, match it up with our center line, and we are going to flip this right on top, okay? And as you can see, let me see if you can see that. You can tell that this is, see how that's, you see my red over here and my white showing because of these pieces right here. So what you want to do is you want to move that down to where that's going to meet, okay? You're going to want to pull that down to make sure that you're going to actually get a 1/4 inch. And don't try not to trim that off yet, because if it doesn't line up right, you're going to have to take it off and redo it. And you want to make sure that you have a little bit of something extra to work with if it doesn't work out. So if you can hold on and just wait to trim that, after you've done the 1/4 inch, like I said, oh look, I wore white, so maybe I could do it this way. So if you take and you line this up, okay, you're going to have excess on both sides here because you're lining up here in the center, okay? So if you go ahead and do your 1/4 inch stitch and just act like that these are not here, just kind of ride right over them, then you should be able to trim all of that off at the end. So I'm going to go ahead and pin mine. You pin yours. Let's get them put together, and we'll reveal when we come right back. All right, hopefully everybody got through all of those nasty triangles, and you have created yourself the sparkling star. I think after all the work we put into it, I think it better sparkle, it better do more than sparkle. So hopefully you like the outcome of this block, and I know it was challenging, but if you have seen the Facebook post or Instagram, also put it in the newsletter today, because we're taping this on Monday, so it's not really Tuesday. But we had this big heart, and it's like the bursting heart, and it's a whole lot of triangles. So if you have seen that and are interested in that as a class, I will be doing that on a video, and as soon as I get all the information and everything in from it and have a chance to go through it, I will share that with you as well. But triangles, you're going to always have the triangles. I mean, you're going to quilt, you're going to have triangles. So it's best to just get over that fear, and although these were some small triangles, we can do it, right? We just did. So that is preparing us for our Sampler 2 that will begin September 8th. I want to just touch base real quick about everyone getting ready to kind of, this is block 11, next week is the last block, and we need to start prepping our blocks, get everything ready. If you are doing the woven fusible on the back sides of your blocks like I do on mine, just to show you the difference. So when I go through to get ready to stitch all of these, I'm not going to have to worry about any of my seams here flipping over or anything because they're already secure. And also they are securing my pieces because I do an open, the way that I open my seams here, that this will go through your woven fusible, locks all that in, and secures it, just gives it a little double duty there. And so if anyone is still needing to get the pieces, the woven fusible, we have that coming in this week. We sold out last week. So make sure that you get it. Go ahead and start putting it on your blocks and getting those all ready, because week 13 will be here before you know it. After next week, we will be putting all of this together. How exciting is that? And also, being able, if you are not planning on putting the woven fusible on the back side of each block that we made, and you're leaving your blocks like this, that is perfectly fine. However, I do strongly suggest that what we're considering our blue blocks, which are, can you scan over here? Which are my floral blocks. So those 6 down the center, those are what we have been calling and referring to as the blue blocks. And that is, if you put the backing on the back of those, it will make those a more manageable weight to be able to go in with the rest of your blocks. And that goes for the same for your edging, the triangles on the ends or on the outside. If you can at least do your center blocks and those, that will really help in when you go to put your pieces together. It will be less difficult. You won't have all the shifting and stuff for just regular fabric. And I do want to go ahead and let you know, I just kind of jotted this down, but you need, for the sizes of your blue blocks, if you have not seen it on previous videos, if you have not seen it in the newsletter or on Facebook, I'm going to go ahead and let you know so that you can get these all ready. And your blue blocks, which are again my floral blocks, you need 6 of those, and they need to be 12.5 by 12.5. So if you have your 12.5 by 12.5 ruler, no problem. All you got to do is lay it down, cut them out, you're good to go. If you are using a one-way fabric, directional fabric, little trick here. You need to make sure that you are lining up where it is that you want, what you want to show. Make sure that it is going the proper way, and be able to line that up in the diamond shape, okay? Not as the square, because when you have it as the square and then you're going to turn it, it's not going to be, it's going to be directional, it's going to be going the wrong direction though. So make sure that you are putting your triangle, not triangle, you're putting it as a diamond shape, okay, to be able to cut around. And for the outer triangles, man, there's a lot of squares and triangles in this conversation here. But for the outside triangles on the sides here, and the top 2 and the bottom 2, you need to cut 3 18.25 by 18.25. So if you have the 18.5-inch ruler, you can just use that ruler and just kind of come off of it a 1/4 inch, or cut it out at 18.5 by 18.5, and then just take a little 1/4 piece off of that. And you will cut that diagonally, and then go back and cut it again diagonally, opposite sides, so that you end up with 4 pieces. In all, you will have 12 you're going to have 12 of those triangles when you have all of these cut, and you will have 2 extras. So you can just set those aside, use them for scraps or whatever. And then for our corner pieces, mine are not up here yet, but for your corner pieces, you need 2, and they are 9 by 3/8 by 9 3/8. And then you're going to take and cut those diagonally. So you will have 2 pieces of fabric, 9 by 3/8, 9 by 3/8, cut both of them diagonally. You will have 4 triangles, and those will go into your corner spots, okay? So we need to go ahead and focus on those. Make sure that if you are heeding my advice and you are going to at least put the woven fusible onto those triangle pieces. It does make it a lot easier if you go ahead and fuse that on before you make your cuts. If you've already made cuts, you can always go back and do it. All you're doing is doing the size of the triangle, putting it back together as the square, and then just cut it diagonally, and then just put those pieces on there. When you do that, do not try to square these up yet, because what we need to do is go through and measure each one of our blocks, and we need to measure and put the sizes of those blocks. You don't have to measure. See how my outside here of the woven fusible, I'm not measuring to that spot. I'm measuring to just my actual fabric. So if you go ahead and you measure from fabric side to fabric side, widthwise, and then lengthwise, top to bottom and across, and then go ahead and write your measurement and put a little sticky note or something on that particular block, because when we get done with our last block, we need to check to see what our smallest block is, and we need to make adjustments to be able to make all the blocks that size. So we will be doing some trimming down, and when we trim, we do not just trim off one side. We have to, it's a whole precise thing. Like we have to go through and we have to take a little off this side and a little off this side. Whatever we take off this side has to be the same on the other, so that we keep everything even. But we'll go over that next week, and also in week 13, because that is the week that we will be putting everything together. So hopefully I can feel it now. I feel like the names and everything that I've probably been called today after this block, you know. But hey, we need to learn these things. You can't have everything simple all the time, right? I do want to let you know we did receive finally our pressing mats. Of course, I was hoping that we had these way before now. But these will also come in handy. It's background or backdrop, what is it, malfunction. That's not holding very well. But I was hoping we had these way before now, because I was wanting to let you know these wool pressing mats, like you can sit this right down next to you, so you don't have that getting up and down all the time, going over to do all the pressing, because we do a lot of pressing. Now if you're like me, you need the exercise, you know, I don't mind. But it does make it a lot easier. And if you are, these are made for a dry iron. If you are using a steam with the iron, you can absolutely use it with these, but you do want to make sure that you have something protective underneath, because this is a wool mat. It is all wool, and the steam will go through to your table or whatever it is that you're using. So that underlay could possibly get ruined if it is not protected. But these wool mats are excellent, and they really help to hold your creases a lot better when you are doing your ironing. And we do have these in stock, and just in time for when we get ready to do our big sampler 2. And other than that, I think that's everything we have for today. I've got so many different things going on. I'm just trying to make sure that I've touched base on everything. But we know what that means. When it's the end of the video, it means it's drawing time. And we get to have a winner. And catch this. Our winner is going to receive Whoppers, because this block sure was a Whopper. Get it? Get it? I just had to do that, sorry. And when I went and I was looking and I saw Whoppers, and after I've already created this one, I thought, oh yeah, it's Whopper time. So, Mr. Timothy gets to do our drawing. Tim, nobody ever gets to see you. They only see your hand.
That's fine.
So, you guys, he wears the black shirt every day. He looks the same every day. He's, you know, we call him Bigfoot's little brother. And make it again. Let's see. Oh, he's pulling it out. Let's see. It is
Alice McCoy.
Alice McCoy. You are the winner. So you won yourself some Whoppers and 1 free yard of fabric. So, hey, we'll see, Alice. Come on in. And if you want to save that 1 free yard to go toward your sampler 2, if you're doing that, that would be awesome. Or if you want to use it toward like your backing or something, because like we said, we're almost to the end here. And that 1 yard is going to come in handy. So, all right, good thing that we're done, because this is not wanting to stay up here. And yeah, okay, we're just going to go ahead and I'll hold on to it. How about that? All right, well, we'll see you next week. Again, it's a surprise block. We don't know what it's going to be. But, hey, I'll let you know on Friday when I put out the measurements for cutting. And, hey, it's going to be a surprise to me, too. I'm investigating. I'm trying to figure it out. But we'll see what we come up with, okay? I promise I will try to make it just a little bit easier than what this was. But we'll see. All right. Well, guys, until